Can you hear me? All right. My name is Colin Lovely. My wife and I moved down here last year in August. We've been coming here for a little bit over a year now. As most people who know me would know, I'm not usually the person who is comfortable with public speaking, and if God wasn't with me here today, I wouldn't be up here. But I figured that if God put it in their hearts to ask me to share my testimony today, then there's certainly going to be someone out there who can benefit from hearing it. So my story starts when I was a little kid and my parents were getting a divorce. Both of my parents were hardcore alcoholics. My mother actually liked drugs a little bit more than alcohol, but either way. The court saw it fit to give her full custody of me. And because of that decision, I suffered quite a few years of abuse at the hand of my mom and her friends. After a number of years, I decided that it was time to take matters into my own hands, and shortly thereafter, I was given up to my dad. I was still a kid at that point, 8, maybe 9 years old, but I had a lot of questions running through that head of mine. Like, why would that happen to me? What did I do to deserve it? You know, I don't know if I was a bad kid. I wasn't sure what was going on. I spent a lot of time looking for that answer, and I landed on the opinion that there simply was no God. There couldn't be, because why would a loving, caring father let something like that happen to an innocent little kid like me? So I figured that people were a product of their circumstances, and we are what we make of ourselves. So over the next many years, I actively shunned God well into my teenage years, believing, again, that no father would allow something like what happened to me happen to good people. It wasn't until I was invited to a youth group by a good friend of mine, actually my wife's cousin, that things kind of started to turn around for me. I didn't go willingly, mind you, again, being the staunch atheist that I was. But there was video games and free snacks, so you get it. So the most striking thing to me about that youth group that I went to was that it wasn't just video games, snacks, hanging out with people my own age, getting to know people, but it was the unconditional love that I was shown, a stranger, right at the door. The people that were there, the church staff, they were called Church on the Move, and they just loved me. The moment I walked in, without any hesitation, they didn't know who I was, what I did, what I had been through. They just showed me the love of God the moment I walked into that church. And that earned a lot of respect from someone like me who believed that you had to earn people's respect rather than it just being willingly and freely given to you. So I ended up making going there a very regular thing, and I got more and more exposed to the Word of God through this little youth group. I told myself at the time that it was because I was going to go and see my friends, but I think the reality of the situation was that I'd never stopped looking for answers ever since I was a kid. So one week they set up a concert, and it was like a heavy rock, metal, kind of Christian group that came in, and it was going to be a big thing, so I figured, well, I can go. They said there was going to be a mosh pit, which was going to be pretty fun. So, you know, kind of get a chance to go there, be rowdy, do the normal things. That sounded like a lot of fun to a little kid like me. So I went, and a couple of songs in, they decided to slow it down, and they played a song that everybody there knew. I don't remember what it was at the moment. But the thing that I thought was kind of cute or endearing at the moment was everybody who was there was singing along, and they had their hands up high, and they were praising the Lord, and something hit me like a kick directly to my stomach, and I fell on the ground crying. I still to this day don't know what it was. Really, but I fell and I started crying, and before I knew what was going on, I had people surrounding me, strangers who I never knew, laying their hands on me and praying for me. And I don't know what they were saying, but I felt something that I'd never felt before in my life. And afterwards, I found that for the second time in my life, I had a whole lot of questions that needed some answering. A few years later, after this event happened, I ended up meeting my wife, Morgan, and she was a Christian who grew up in the church. Her dad was an elder at the local church that they went to. And after I got to know her and I got to know her parents, I had some questions for them. So we started by having me actively go to the church with her and her family, and I didn't find the answer to all of my questions, but I learned more about God and His Word. At age 18, I was saved, and I was baptized in that church. At age 22, I was married in that church. And even today, sorry, I'm learning more and more. Sorry. And even today, I'm learning more and more about the love of God, and that even from the beginning, He was there for me. And what I finally landed on, all these years later, is this. God is the creator of the universe. He is a blacksmith, and I am a piece of iron that needed to be forged. And when a piece of iron is being forged into a tool, it's not fun for that piece of iron. It's heated, beaten, shaped, cooled, but that blacksmith is putting his love and his care into that piece of iron until it becomes the tool that he needs it to be. I'm still being forged to this day, but I'm a better man for it. Thank you.